أهلا وسهلا بكم مرة أخرى. الإسلام الذي بشر النبي أنه سيبلغ كل الدنيا، هل هو الإسلام اللي احنا عايشينه اليوم؟ القتل والتفجير وقطع الرؤوس والإرهاب اللي احنا عايشينه اليوم، يا ترى هو الإسلام اللي حكى عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وبشر العالمين؟ هو النبي يسوق بشارة أنه هذا الدين سيبلغ الليل والنهار. هل الإسلام الذي بشر فيه النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام هو الذي نراه اليوم؟ عشان نجاوب على السؤال وغيره من الأسئلة، أنا يشرفني اليوم أن يكون ضيفنا في هذا البرنامج فضيلة الشيخ الداعية حمزة يوسف. والشيخ الداعية حمزة يوسف هو رئيس كلية الزيتونة في ولاية كاليفورنيا في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. فمرحبا بكم سيدي.
أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا وسهلا. لكن قبل ما أدخل في الحديث،
نعم،
حصل معك حادث سير
أيوة.
كان سبب في إسلامك.
نعم، سيارة.
بدقائق كيف تقول؟
والله كنت شابا يعني يافعا، وكنت في يعني حادثة، فبدأت أفكر يعني فيما وراء الموت وهكذا، فدرست يعني الأديان. أنا أمي ربتني على أن جل الناس في العالم يدينون بدين ورثه، يعني ما فهي هكذا ربتنا يعني
توارثوه، لم يفكروا فيه.
نعم. فالحمد لله يعني قرأت الكتب يعني القرآن وأسلمت الحمد لله بفضل الله.
وكم كان عمرك لما
يعني 18 لما أسلمت. بدأت يعني بحثي في 17.
عمرك 17 عام؟
إيه، ولكن أسلمت في يعني 18.
طيب 17 عام بدأت البحث عن الإسلام.
نعم.
فهداك الله عز وجل.
أنا أردت البحث عن الحق يعني
فقط، مش إسلام.
نعم.
فوصل بك الحق إلى الإسلام
هكذا. نعم.
سؤال فضيلتك.
أيوة.
لو كانت صورة الإسلام الموجود اليوم
نعم
هي التي تعرفت عليها لما كان عمرك 17 عام،
نعم،
كنت ستسلم؟
والله أنا سبحان الله في ناس ما زالوا يسلمون رغم هذا يعني كله، الناس ما زالوا يسلمون، فالهداية بيد الله سبحانه وتعالى.
جميل.
لكن فعلا هذه العقبات التي هؤلاء جعلوا أمام الدعوة عقبات عويصة صعبة التجاوز.
الآن شو نظرة الناس غير المسلمين؟ نحن لا نريد الغرب
يعني تغير كثيرا يعني في أوروبا وفي أمريكا هناك الآن الكره يعني بدأ يبرز، ما في شك يعني أن يكرهون المسلمين، والمسلمون للأسف الكثير منهم يكرهون هؤلاء، فنحن الآن في ورطة. يعني هذه الكره المتبادل سيؤدي إلى الفناء وإلى الحروب وإلى هذا الجنون، يعني لأن الله سبحانه وتعالى هو خلق هذا الأرض وجعل عليها بشرا من اختلاف الأنواع وأشكال وحتى الألوان وألسنة، هذا كله نوعنا الله سبحانه وتعالى لحكمة. ثم يعني أمرنا أن يعني نبحث عن الحق، وكذلك أن الله سبحانه وتعالى هو أراد من الإنسان أن يعني يعيش في إسلام، وهذا استسلام للطبيعة. طبيعة الإنسان المسالمة، الإنسان ليس محاربا بطبيعته، يعني القتل شيء كبير
ليس
جداً.
متوحش،
ليس متوحشا بطبيعته. هو الإنسان هو سمي إنسانا على قول للأنس، لأنه يستأنس بأخيه، فهذا يعني. ولكن مع ذلك عندنا في تركيبنا عندنا قوة غضبية، هذا الأخلاقيون سموه القوة الغضبية. إذا القوة العقلية لا تسيطر على هذه القوة فالإنسان فعلا يتوحش. هناك قوة شهوانية، هم هكذا ثلثوه، والعقلية هي التي الله سبحانه وتعالى كلفنا بها. يعني العقل هو مناط التكليف، بدون عقل ليس هناك التكليف، فكل إنسان له عقل، فإذا هو لا يقمع شهوته وغضبه لهذا العقل يتوحش، وهكذا يصير كما نرى في العالم الآن.
طيب الآن هذه الصورة المستمدة من الإسلام، وأنا أقول الإسلام بين قوسين، يقتل باسم الإسلام.
نعم.
ويفجر باسم الإسلام.
نعم.
هل هذا هو الفهم الإسلام الذي أنت قرأت عنه
كمحايد؟ هو أولا لما الله سبحانه وتعالى قال إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة، هم الملائكة سألوا استفهاما أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء؟ هم سألوا على قول أنهم قاس على الجان الذين كانوا من قبلنا في الأرض، وعلى قول أنهم فهموا أن هذا الشيء سيحصل. لكن المهم هذا السؤال، هل تجعل فيها من يفسد فيها الفساد وسفك الدماء؟ ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك. فكأن هذا مهم جدا أن الإنسان يفهم أنه خلق للتسبيح والتقديس،
وليس للقتل
وليس للفساد وسفك الدماء. والله سبحانه وتعالى يعني حرم القتل إلا بحق، يعني إلا بحق. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكر أن الإنسان ستكون له فسحة يوم القيامة ما دام لم يسفك الدم، فإذا سفك الدم فهذه يعني صعب جدا،
يعني يبقى عنده أمل بالنجاة
ما دام لم يسفك الدم.
فإذا سفك الدم
فلذا يعني الصحابة ما قتلوا كثيرا. يعني نحن إذا ننظر إلى السيرة، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في خلال 23 سنة هناك 29 غزوة، 29 من هذه الغزوات لم يحدث القتل فيها إلا في 11 فقط.
نعم.
فمعنى ثلثاء الغزوة لم يحدث أي قتل. ثم من الإحصاءات التي إذا نحن نحصيها من خلال الكتب نجد أن أقل من 200 من الصحابة ماتوا في 23 سنة. يعني مثلا في غزوة الخندق حيث جاء بالآلاف، هذا نعم. أكبر غزوة من ناحية القدر
والعدد،
مات 6 فقط
في غزوة الخندق.
نعم. الله سبحانه وتعالى هو الذي كف أيديهم عنكم. هذا الرحمة من الله أن يكف القتل والذبح. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما كان يحب القتل، قال لا تتبنوا لقاء العدو، هذا ورد في البخاري.
فيضرب أعناقكم
نعم.
وتضربوا
ولا
أعناق.
ترجعوا بعد كفارا يضرب بعضكم بعضا. يعني الآن المسلمون كأن نزعت عقولهم. نحن نرى القتال والله هؤلاء في اليمن وهؤلاء في سوريا من 2 أو من سنة أو من أقل يتجالس ويتكلم كبشر، وعندهم ما توحدهم من العادات والتقاليد، اللسان والجو والبيئة. فالآن خلاص يتقاتلون بهذه الطريقة العشوائية.
ما سبب نزع الرحمة من قلوب البشر لهذه الدرجة؟
هو أولا الفتن، يعني الفتن شيء. ويعني من ناحية إذا ننظر من ناحية اللاهوتية فيعني قل هو من عند أنفسكم، يعني الذنوب كثرت والناس والضغط على الناس، يعني الناس فعلا هناك ضغط شديد على الناس عندنا في العالم الإسلامي. وأنا كنت أتكلم عن هذا من 10 سنوات في الغرب، أن أنتم لا تعرفون الضغط على المسلمين، على الشباب وعلى الشعوب. فإذا نحن لا ننفس عنهم، يعني هذا سيؤدي إلى انفجارات يعني عقلية، انفجارات عقلية، وهي التي تؤدي إلى الانفجارات البدنية.
نعم.
فلا بد يعني من التنفيذ.
طيب هل ترى سيدي أنه ما زال هنالك فسحة لخطاب العلماء، خطاب المنابر، الإعلام، المشايخ، الدعاء؟ هل ترى أنه ما زال مجال فسحة، أم ترى أن الأمور قد أغلقت وأن صوت السلاح هو الذي يعلو على كل شيء ورغبة القتل والتشوف إلى الدماء، لكن يحتاجون إلى مبرر فيقولون الإسلام؟
هو أولا جل المسلمين الآن لا يقاتلون، لا لازم نفهم هذا ما زال نسبة. لكن المشكلة أن شهريا هناك أناس من يجند، هم يقتلون أناسا ثم يجندون من جديد أناس، وهكذا الدائرة مفرغة. لكن الدم يعني الإنسان يتعب من هذا الشيء.
نعم.
لا يمكن أن يستمر عليه. الحروب لها يعني مدة ثم لازم تنتهي، لأن الإنسان يتعب من هذا الشيء. لكن أنا أظن أن العلماء يعني حقيقة أنا ألوم العلماء في أشياء كثيرة. أولا فتح باب العمليات الانتحارية، لأن أنا لما بدأت هذه العمليات جل العلماء الذي سمعت منهم كانوا يحرمون هذا الشيء. وإذا تنظروا إلى الفتاوى قديما نعم. كلهم قالوا هذا لا يجوز والانتحار لا يجوز. ماذا تغير؟ لماذا بعد ذلك
أصبح حلالا؟
نعم. لماذا كان حراما ثم كان حلالا؟ هذا يقع كثيرا. مثلا لما ظهرت الفوتوغرافية يعني التصوير في البداية كثير من العلماء حرموا، ثم بعد ذلك لما الديشات، أنا أتذكر لما
نعم.
الأطباق في المغرب
أطباق.
يقول أطباق، هنا صحون، أطباق أقرب للفصحى لأن هو مقوس. لكن لما ظهرت هذه ديشات أنا سمعت كم من خطب من العلماء بحرمتها ولا يجوز. خلاص الآن كل البيوت حتى بيوت الدعاة وكل البيوت أدخلوها الناس، والآن ترى النتيجة. أبو القاسم الحكيم هذا من كبار علماء آسيا الوسطى، أبو القاسم الحكيم السمرقندي، وهو تلميذ أبي منصور الماتوريدي العالم الجليل في التوحيد. هذا قال الفتن كلها تنشأ عن ثلاث.
نعم.
الفتن هذا يعزوه أبو حامد الغزالي في محك النظر، يقول الفتن كلها
من ثلاث قضايا
تنشأ عن ثلاث، عفوا في كتابه عن مرآة الملوك، فيقول ناقل الأخبار وطالب الأخبار ومتلقي الأخبار. فالفتن كلها تنشأ ناقل الأخبار وطالب الأخبار ومتلقي الأخبار. فمعنى
هي إعلامية
إعلام. فنحن الآن دخلنا في عصر الفتن، لأن للأسف الشديد هذا ينشر هذه الأخبار ويشوش الناس واستفزازي. هؤلاء يحبون الاستفزاز ودائما يتكلمون عن الشر ولا لا يذكروا شيئا من الخير. يعني كل الأخبار سيئة، فإذا واحد ينظر إلى الأخبار سيظن أن هذه الدنيا فقط يعني مجانين.
نعم.
لكن في الحقيقة مثلا أنا أقول لك، أنا أسأل الناس كيف منطقة فلانية أنا رأيت أشياء، قال لا هادي جدا ما في شيء، هذا إعلام. أيوة. هذا كثير أسمع هذا من الناس. فمعنى أن الإعلام لها دور عظيم جدا في هذا الفساد،
تهدئة الناس.
أنا ألوم الإعلام وألوم كذلك يعني حكام المسلمين لم يعتنوا بالإسلام من زمان. هم أهملوا هذا الجانب خوفا من لأن الإسلام السياسي الذي يطالب الحكم والكرسي، وقديما العلماء كانوا يعني يبتعدون عن هذا الشيء،
يريدون إصلاح المجتمع فقط.
لا يريدون الحكم ولا يريدون يعني الذي يفهم.
طيب هذه النقطة نريد أن نوضحها أكثر، أنه في العشر سنوات السابقة وال15 عام سعت كثير من الحكومات إلى عزل الدين من أجل أن ننشئ مجتمع يسمى مجتمع مدني، فكانت النتيجة أن العاطفة الدينية بقت موجودة لدى الشباب.
نعم.
ولكن أسيء توجيهها، فكانت النتيجة تكفير الحكومات وتكفير الحاكم. نعم. وتكفير. نعم. الدول، ثم بعد ذلك الوقوع. نعم. في التفجيرات. ما تعليقك سيدي على من يقول أن المجتمعات اليوم لديها جرعة زائدة من الدين، فلا بد أن نقلل الدين مرة أخرى؟ هل هذه وصفة صحيحة؟
هو عكس، لازم نزيد الدين. المشكلة قلة الدين وقلة فهم الدين، لأن الشعوب المسلمة متدينة بالطبيعة، فإذا لا تهملوا جانب التربية، هم قديما كانوا يقول التربية والتعليم، نربي ونعلم. ليس فقط العلم، التربية كذلك والتزكية. هذه الأشياء غابت من العالم الإسلامي. التزكية الآن كأنها غير موجودة.
طيب هنالك حرب على التزكية بحجة أننا نحارب يعني أنها ليست من الإسلام. الإسلام تصلي وتصوم فقط.
أنا لا أظن أحد يقول أن ليس من، قد أفلح من زكاها، يعني هذا نص القرآن.
يزكيها فقط صيام وصلاة، لكن مجالسة العلماء، مخالطتهم، أدب الحديث، أدب الحوار، أدب الاعتراض، أدب السؤال، يقول لي هذا اليوم.
هذا الذي يقول هذا لا يعرف شيئا عن سيرة السلف.
نعم.
ولم يقرأ شيئا عن سيرتهم. يعني هذا ابن المنكدر، هذا أستاذ إمام مالك. إمام مالك كان يقول كنا نذهب عنده فنحقر أنفسنا أياما، يعني بمجرد أن يجلس مع هذا عالم الجليل في المدينة كان يخرج ويحقر نفسه أياما. هذا أهمية التربية. لكن يعني رجوعا إلى هذا الكلام حول الإسلام السياسي، يعني نحن لا ننكر أن السياسة جزء من الإسلام، لا ننكر ذلك،
ولكن ليست كل
لكن
الإسلام.
هذه الأحكام يعني تسمى عندنا الأحكام السلطانية. هذا نعم. مثلا الماوردي وأبو بكر الطرطوشي كثير من العلماء كتبوا في هذا الشيء.
نعم.
يعني
وإمام الحرمين والغياثي
الغياثي. نعم. لكن هذا تختص بالسلطة.
نعم.
لا تختص والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكر الرويبضة في آخر الزمان، يخرج الرويبضة، السفير يتكلم في أمر العامة، يعني فلا يخصه. فالآن كل واحد يدرجش في السياسة وكان يحل المشاكل. أنا مرة كنت في مقهى في
إعجاب كل ذي رأي برأيه.
برأيه.
نعم.
أنا كنت في مقهى فرأيت واحد من يعني خدم في موظف، فهو يأتي بالقهوة فيتكلم عن واحد سياسي في الشاشة ويلومه ويقول هذا لا يفهم شيء وهذا. أنا قلت له للأسف أنت هنا قهواجي وهذا السائس، كان مفروض أنت السائس وهو القهواجي. يعني
نعم.
كل الناس هكذا يظن أنه بالسهولة. ثم شيء آخر، لكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين.
نعم.
إقامة الحكومات. أنا كنت أمشي في الكورنيش البارحة مع زوجتي بأمان في الإمارات العربية المتحدة، وأقول سبحان الله الناس لا يقدروا. شوف هذا الجمال، شوف هذه الخدمات، شوف يعني حقيقة خدمات المرافق والأمانات التي تجد في هذا البلد، هذه خدمة عظيمة جدا. الناس لا يقدروا هذا الشيء.
نعم.
يعني يشتكون من الحكام ولا يفهمون أن أولا الإمارة صعبة جدا. أي واحد أنت مارست فأنت تعرف تماما أنت تمشي بهذه الأثقال. هم العرب يسمونه الوزير لأنه يحملوا الوزر والأعباء ولا ينام مرتاحة.
نعم.
الحاكم لا ينام مرتاحة، هم يظنون أنهم يتمتعون فقط في القصور وهكذا. هؤلاء يحملون أعباء جدا، ونحن لازم نطالب إصلاحهم بالدعاء ونفهم
يعني
هذا الشيء.
مقولة الإمام الشافعي لو كانت لي دعوة مستجابة لخصصت
نعم
بها ولي الأمر.
كثير قال هذا الشيء.
السؤال أريد أن أختم به، لماذا اليوم إذا دعوت إلى ولي الأمر البعض يقول لك أنك تنافق وأنك تريد أن تتملق، علما بأن الدعوة
أنا أريد شيء. أنا أريد واحد من المهندسين الصوتية، أنهم هندسة صوتية، أنه ينظروا إلى التأمين في الحرم المكي في رمضان. لما يقول اللهم حرر فلسطين آمين والأرفع ترتفع، لما يقول اللهم أصلح ولاة أمورنا آمين.
نعم.
يعني كلهم.
نعم.
هذا
كيف نحرر فلسطين إذا لم يصلح ولاة الأمور ولم ندعو
هذا
لهم؟
في مصلحتنا. أبو بكر الطرطوشي قال أحمق الناس من دعا على الحاكم. أحمق الناس لأنه دعا على نفسه.
نعم.
من حيث لا يشعر هو دعا على نفسه. الحكام نحن نطالب منهم يعني أن يصلحوا، نحن نريد الإصلاح منهم، لكن كذلك لازم نفهم كيفما تكونون يولى عليكم. وهذا أبو بكر الطرطوشي قال كنت أتأمر هذا الكلام بين الناس لأن في ضعف في السند. على كل حال هو قال حتى ظفرت على معناه في كتاب الله سبحانه وتعالى، وكذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا.
نسأل الله عز وجل أن يصلح ولاة أمورنا أجمعين.
آمين.
نحن في ختام هذا اللقاء لا يسعنا أن نتقدم بالشكر إلى فضيلة الداعي الأستاذ حمزة يوسف من الولايات المتحدة ولايات كاليفورنيا، وهو رئيس كلية الزيتونة. شكرا لكم سيدي جزيلا.
شكرا.
ونسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يوضح لنا الحقائق. الإسلام الذي دعا له النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قطعا ليس هو الإسلام الذي نشاهد اليوم على شاشات الإعلام. هنالك حملة تزوير وتشويه لصورة الإسلام. ليس هذا هو الدين الذي بشر النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام القادمين بأنه سيصل إليكم. لو كان دين القتل والتعذيب والتشريد لما كانت هنالك بشارة. نسأل الله أن يبشرنا بكل خير وأن يوفقنا لحمل رسالة الإسلام وأدائها على النحو الذي يرضي الله ويرضي رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. إلى أن ألتقي بكم في حلقة قادمة إن شاء الله، أستودعكم الله الذي لا تضيع ودائعه، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
The Prophet ﷺ said, يأتي على الناس زمان كلهم يأكلون الربا. All of them will be consuming interest or usury. Now they say usury interest, but it's usury. All of them will be eating interest or usury. And then the Sahaba said, كلهم? Because they knew the enormity of the sin. They said, كلهم ya Rasulullah? He said, all of them. And he said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَأْكُلْهُ يُصَابُ مِنْ غُبَارِهِ. And the one that doesn't consume it directly will be covered in its dust. Sadaqa Rasulullah. You have to see the prophecy in that. Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the other thing that you can do, support your local economies. Buy local. Support your local economies. We have farmers markets that are being revived in the United States, supporting small farmers, getting out of the agro-business. All of these diseases are coming from these agro-businesses. You have to support your local farmers. The other thing that's very important is to recognize the problem of food. We live in a completely unjust food system. In America, because sugar can be produced much cheaper in places, they put all of these restrictions on the importation of sugar, and so Americans now are eating corn syrup produced in America and getting fat from this corn syrup, because corn syrup is actually not a good source of sugar. That's an example, but I'll give you a worse example. The most important study that's been done on nutrition ever is the China study by Dr. Campbell and his researchers. This was a first-rate researcher from Harvard, from Princeton, teamed up with Oxford. He was a completely credible scientist. And Premier Deng in China died of cancer of the bladder. Before he died, he set aside money to do a study of nutrition in China and disease relation. So this was independently funded. Campbell ran that team, and the result of it is the China study. Some things about the China study that are very important. The first thing is that the results were so radical that the food pyramid was changed to be more scientific. But because meat and dairy were completely minimized in the diet, the meat and dairy industry in the United States lobbied so hard that they actually changed the pyramid, which means science is no longer serving humanity, it's serving corporate interests. That's what it means. Science is serving corporate interests. That is wrong. In the China study, what they found is that in areas where their protein was less than 5% from meat and dairy, there was no cancer. There was no cancer. The original study was done in Hyderabad in India. And the Harvard scientists, they laughed at it and they said, oh, they must have got the cages mixed up. Campbell replicated this science repeatedly. Some things about meat and dairy consumption. First of all, the meat and dairy today is not the meat and dairy that Grandma and Grandpa ate. The meat that Grandma and Grandpa ate were free range, what they would call now organic. They didn't have a word for it because everything was organic 50 years ago. Organic, free range, happily raised animals on farms where they actually treated animals with some dignity. Farmers actually had relationships with their animals. They treated them with dignity. Now, and my grandfather had a cattle ranch, so I actually spent my summers on a cattle ranch, and I herded cattle, and I saw. My grandfather, the first time I got on a horse, before I got on the horse, he put a pencil in my mouth and yanked it back really hard. And he said, that's what the horse feels when you're using that bit, so don't forget it. That was my first lesson, because that's the way people taught. They had respect for their animals. In the United States, horses are not categorized as pets. They're categorized as livestock. You can starve a horse to death in America and not go to jail, which is wrong. Horses should have rights. Animals have rights in Islam. This is not a new concept. Our religion gives animals rights. Ants have rights. In the book of Zuhud, one of the Sahaba used to go out and put breadcrumbs on the anthill that was near his house, and one of the tabi'een asked him what he was doing. He said, I don't want them testifying against me on Yom Al-Qiyamah that I didn't fulfill the rights of the neighbor. I mean, this is an anthill. What kind of psychology did these people have? It's a different world they were living in. Dr. Nasser was alluding to it last night. They lived in a different world. The Prophet spoke to animals. He spoke to animals. Our Prophet spoke to animals. He spoke to them, and they spoke back to him. This is not mythology. This is reality. We have people today that still speak to animals. Animals respond to you. They respond to you. They're sentient creatures. They have nervous systems. They feel pain. They become depressed. In America, we have dogs and cats on Prozac. This is a fact. Veterinarians prescribe Prozac for dogs in America. Don't think the dog is depressed because he's a dog. He's happy to be a dog. He's depressed because he's in a house that's depressing. The dog whisperer said, he doesn't go solve people's dog problems. He goes and solves dogs' people problems. And the same is true for the horse whisperer, Buck. The horse whisperer said, I don't solve people's horse problems. I solve horses' people problems. Animals are intuitive. They know when something's wrong. Sayyidina Omar, during his Khalifa, prohibited eating meat every day. This is a fact. Also, don't think vegetarianism is not from Islam. People say that when they become Muslim and they're vegetarian, they say, oh, you have to stop eating meat. I mean, you have to start eating meat. Your iman's not complete until you eat meat. That's what they say. And then they give them the biryani and welcome to Islam. Ibn Abi Laham, one of the Sahaba, Ibn Abi Laham was a vegetarian. Kana nabatiyan. This is in the tradition. And the Prophet accepted that from him. Now, if you swore off meat for ibadah, that's a different thing. The Prophet told them not to do that. But he didn't want to eat meat. Maybe he didn't like it. But today, eating a lot of meat is unethical. I would say that eating fish, this is your choice, and I'm not dictating to anybody. You have to make your own choices. You do your research. You know, we're not fascists. Think for yourselves. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to make you think about things, and you go back and you do your own research and you decide for yourselves, because you're all sovereign human beings, and nobody can tell you what to do other than Allah and His Messenger, and that's it. Nobody can tell you what to do. And every scholar that tells you, he's telling you what he thinks Allah and His Messenger is telling you what to do. That's called ijtihad. But there are a few things where Allah spells it out. And fallibilism is very important. Our scholars need to have more fallibilism. We don't doubt Islam, but we should doubt our understanding of Islam. We should doubt our understanding of Islam. We don't doubt Islam, but we should doubt our understanding of Islam. Because to have certainty about your understanding is to arrogate to yourself some divine knowledge that you don't have. So Sayyidina Umar said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَاللَّحْمِ فَإِنَّ لَهُ ضَرَاوَةً كَضَرَاوَةِ الْخَمْرِ. It's in the Muwatta. Beware of meat, because it has an addiction like the addiction of wine. Beware of meat. إِيَّاكُمْ وَاللَّحْمِ. Because it has an addiction like the addiction of wine. We have Muslims now eating meat 3 times a day, and then they're wondering why they have gout, why they have all these diseases. Seriously, start cutting that out. The other thing, I read a book last year called The Caveman's Diet. And in that book, he was arguing, he's not a Muslim. He said everybody should fast at least a month out of the year where they diminish their, this is what he said in his book. He's from LA. Everybody should fast a month out of the year and fast a couple of days in the month. Because he said our bodies are designed to be food deprived. They're designed that way, to be food deprived. If you want to see an amazing documentary, look at Sick, Fat, and Nearly Dead. Sick, Fat, and Nearly Dead. And you look at the miracle that happens on that. A man who fasted 60 days and then got another man who was almost dead to start fasting, and the man's transformation was amazing. We need to transform our food. We need to eat healthy food that's locally grown. If we're going to eat meat, you shouldn't eat meat more than once a week. Imam Sahar Tusturi, one of the conditions when he took on students, one of the conditions he stipulated was they only ate meat once a week. In Maliki fiqh, a rich woman is entitled to meat twice a week. Muslims were semi-vegetarians. The Prophet ﷺ was a semi-vegetarian. He did not eat a lot of meat. This is a fact. You can read it in the seerah. 2 months they would see no smoke came out of his chimney. And they would say, what were you eating? They said, al-aswadain. It's in the Sahih collection. Al-aswadain, water and dates. Dates are one of the most beneficial foods in the world. So this is absolutely imperative that you change your diets. We're eating far too much processed foods. All of this cancer, 1 out of 4 people is getting cancer now. Heart disease, diabetes. 70% of people in some of the Gulf states over 40 have type 2 diabetes. 70%. They're drinking, eating all this processed food. Cancer has become epidemic in West Africa because they're eating all these processed foods. Eat fresh, healthy foods. Eat good foods. This is part of our religion. Allah doesn't mention food without mentioning halal and tayyib. Make your food a source of nutrition. Don't eat empty food. Don't eat too much food. Really, eat twice a day. Sahal was asked, he said, what do you say about a man who eats once a day? He said, akul al-anbiya, that's the way the prophets eat. He said, what about twice a day? He said, akul al-salihin. He said, that's the way the righteous eat. And then he said, what about 3 times a day? He said, build for them a trough. Build for them a trough. Now, the other thing, and this is very important, I'll conclude with, I'm out of time. I'll conclude with this. Support companies that are socially responsible. The way that you can do this starting out is there are several guides that can do this. There are fair trade guides. One of the best is the Better World Buying Guide. You can get an app for it. I've got an app here. We actually invited the author, who's a sociologist, really sweet man. We invited him. It's called Better World Shopper. It's an app that you can buy. Anything that you want to buy, you go onto it. So you go to supermarkets, and they will rate your supermarkets based on how socially responsible they are. A+, A-, C, C+, C, D, and F. Airlines. If you're going to fly Virgin Airlines, fly Air Canada, fly the Blue, JetBlue, Southwest Airlines. There are airlines that you can fly that are better than the other airlines. They're more socially responsible. They're donating more. They're treating their employees well. And this has been analyzed. There are people that are really serious about this. There's people now called freegans. Do you know about freegans? Freegans are literally dropping out. They're just checking out because they don't want to be part of this unjust system that is killing us. It's killing our planet. It's killing us. And there are people that are more morally responsible in the non-Muslim community than I find in the Muslim community. I know non-Muslims that have given up credit cards altogether because they don't want to be part of these banking systems. And yet we as Muslims aren't willing to make changes. We can create our own system. We have to do these things. This is our duty. And finally, this is all about preparing for the day of judgment. Maybe we won't change this thing. Maybe this is the way it's all headed. You know, Bob Marley, I used to listen to him when I was a kid before I became Muslim. Bob Marley, he said, free your mind from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear of atomic energy. They cannot stop the time. How long will they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? But some say it's all a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge. We're not going to predict the future, but we're people of hope. Our religion is a religion of hope. We have hope in God. لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُ اللَّهِ. We have hope in God. We have hope in our Prophet ﷺ, who will never betray us. No matter how much betrayal in the world, he will never betray you. He will stand by you. He will take you across. He will give you from the Hawd. He will stand by you as long as you stand by him. The Prophet will never betray you. God will never betray you. Hope is, our religion is hope. We have to give our children hope. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard. And sore must be the storm that could have bashed the little bird that kept so many warm. I've seen it on the chillest land, in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, and never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Hope is a beautiful thing. Our religion is a religion of hope. We have hope. Change your lives. Clean your houses out. Stop supporting this unjust economic system. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
So the aql is the soul when it's directed towards intelligibles, towards the ma'qulat. You call it the aql. It's consciousness. I mean, consciousness is the great bugbear of materialists, because there's no material proof for consciousness.
They can't reduce consciousness. There's a lot of attempts, but don't believe them ever. When they say, oh, consciousness is just chemical exchanges in the body or something. Trust me, they don't even know. I mean, there's such a strong argument for realist philosophy, right? Because there's so many things. People will say to you, everything you know is through sensory perception. This is kind of a post-enlightenment modern man. Everything you know, there's nothing you can know. The mind is tabula rasa. There was nothing on it before you came into the world. Everything you've acquired is through sense perception. I mean, this is a modernist, materialistic argument. But these are fallacies. They're lies that have been perpetrated on modern people by sophists. And the sophists were the same type people that the ancients were dealing with. For instance, there is nothing in the world, nothing that indicates categories. Nothing. Categories are a complete creation of the mind. There's nothing in the world that says there's something, there's trees. There's nothing in the world that says there's trees. If you go out there and show me an oak tree, that's a name, but that thing, that is a unique thing. There's no other oak on the whole planet. And if you went and examined every single oak on the planet, you will find that they're different from that oak. Just like every human being is different from every other human being. Look at all the people in this room. Nobody's the same. We resemble each other. There's certain semblances. That's true. But to categorize us, the mind did that. The mind did that. Numbers don't exist in the world. This is two. Where did two come from? Well, there's two. There's 1, 2. And then plus 1 is 3. 1, 2, 3. The mind did that. That's not in the world. The mind put them together. And so mathematics is something that, where did that come from? Where did that ability to do that come from? And this is why Einstein said the only thing to him that was incomprehensible about the world was its comprehensibility. Why are we able to discern all this meaning? How did Newton figure out the universal law of gravity? How did he do that? Where was that? To take an apple falling and to universalize an individual event. The mind did that. That wasn't in the world. His mind did that. So all of these, this modern madness of denying at least the possibility of the mind being outside of this world. That the mind, that consciousness itself is not a material thing. It's an immaterial thing. Just even that possibility, that is a rational proposition. It's not irrational. So this argument that somehow it's irrational, they're lying. That's all they're doing. They're lying. It's just they have chosen to side on materialism, not on spiritualism, or that there is something outside of the material. That's their choice, and that's fine. You made that choice, and you have to live with that choice. And if you die and there is an afterlife, you're going to have to deal with that choice also. But those people that choose the other view have, from our perspective, more rational proofs, because this idea that this, just popped into existence, just popped in, like my hand wasn't designed, and then you're going to tell me, well, it was a selfish gene. Selfish gene? Selfish gene? Like, where did it get its selfishness from? So the gene has a personality, and it happens to be a selfish personality as opposed to an altruistic gene? Really? Think about just how they talk about. And then natural selection did this. I've read their books. And then natural selection seems to just do a lot of things that it wants to do. Where did it get that will to do things? Where did it get the will? Where did the irada come from? Seriously. Don't be fooled by sophistry and by language and by... Think about these things at a deeper level. And some of you that are in universities, these people they've been brainwashed, they've been trained in certain ways of thinking, and it becomes really difficult for them to see. But if you've had, great teachers, or if you've read the great teachers of the past, these people weren't stupid people. Newton believed in an afterlife. He wasn't a stupid person. Isaac Newton wrote a commentary on the Bible. And half of their science is based on his insights. Really, without Newton, this modern world doesn't even exist. Leibniz believed in God. That's where they got their calculus from to deny God.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله ومن والاه. Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing to be here. It's an extraordinary crowd. When you come to New York, you have to change your state of mind. You have to enter into a New York state of mind. Things are different here. People are different. Time is different. You have a different set of criteria for time. You call it a New York minute. We don't have that in California. We don't have a San Francisco minute or a Los Angeles minute, but you have a New York minute. This city, my father actually went to Columbia, so I have roots in New York. My father actually grew up here. He was born in Minnesota, but grew up here. And when I first became Muslim, I came to this city from California, and I was very young, and it was very overwhelming to be in this city. You can go outside now. It looks as crazy today as it did back then. It's just different, but it's still crazy. And when I came here, I hooked up with the Muslim community that was here. And amongst them was Imam Talib Abdul Rashid. I was actually caught in the middle of a gunfight in Harlem. I'm not making this up. You couldn't make this up. And he remembers too. I was like selling books, and suddenly some people started shooting at each other. Say, welcome to New York. That was my welcome. I'm coming from California. People smoke marijuana in California. Everything's slow. We have medical marijuana, and everybody's sick in California, so everybody's stoned. Right? So that was my welcome to California, welcome to New York. And then, in order to survive here, people used to sell jewelry. So I actually went, and they taught me how to do it. Went and bought silver from the Koreans. Went down to Greenwich Village. I was there with a man named Abdul Qadir. I don't know if he's still alive. He got stabbed while I was here, but he was from Georgia. And we were walking one day. This is a true story. We were walking one day, and there was a prostitute, and there was 4 or 5 guys from New Jersey. They had Jersey plates, white guys in his car. It was an African-American prostitute, and they started talking to her. And we walked by, and this guy, Abdul Qadir, who I'm with, says, "Sister, don't get in that car." She said, "I'm not getting in that car." Well, one of the guys gets out of the car with a baseball bat and said to him, "What's it to you?" And I swear to God, he was probably 6'3" or something. He looked like an ex-football player. He walked up to this guy. He'd been in prison. He walked up to this guy and right up to his face, and he said, "I'm a Muslim. We don't hit first, so you go ahead and take your best shot." And this guy just got in the car and with their tail between their legs drove back to New Jersey. So that's a New York state of mind, right? So this was a state of mind that I was getting into, a little scary. So I was ready to go overseas to the Middle East, study Arabic, right? Seriously, I was here studying Ebonics, but I went over and studied Arabic. But it was a good experience for me to see this community here because I was part of history. I was at State Street. I went to Atlantic Avenue. I saw Muhammad Adli when he used to give those khutbahs there. And there was a brother, African-American, very light-skinned, Imam Ibrahim, who'd studied overseas. I met Sheikh Dawood, Sister Khadija. I mean, I went up to Sheikh Dawood's room and saw this incredible-looking man dressed in a Moroccan robe and had his burnous on and his yellow sandal. I'll never forget. This is the first time I ever saw Bulgha, yellow sandal, looking down. Saying, you went up there, it was like, you know, it was a ritual to go up and visit Sheikh Dawood. But that was history. And I was with people in Harlem who had lived with Malcolm X. That was only 12 years after he died. I mean, these are people that went, that was where they went and heard the khutbah. That's what's happening here. So you have to understand where you're from and what you're part of. This is a historical transition that's happening. Islam at that time was an African-American phenomenon with a certain level of immigrant coming into the scene. But Islam was very much an African-American phenomenon in the United States. This is what the Muslims here, the African-American Muslims, were right there on the front lines. And they were taking it to the streets. They were talking about Islam with people, selling incense and giving da'wah. That's what was happening in New York. Now, a lot of people have come to America from other places. And one of the great crimes of the immigrant community, and I'm going to say this, one of the great crimes of the immigrant community is failing to recognize the importance of alliance and allegiance with the African-American Muslim community. This is something that we all have to be aware of. You see, because you can't say to an African-American, go back from where you came from. All right? Right here from the start. In fact, long before many of the white people walking around, because they came later. We're talking about 500 years. This is when it begins. So it's very important for people to recognize that an allegiance with the African-American Muslim community is only going to strengthen the Muslim community in the United States of America. There's no other way to strengthen this community. The African-American community is also the canary in the coal mine of America. If you want to see where America is going, you look at the African-American community. They're going to tell you where this country is going. And you can see two clear roads, a road of construction and a road of destruction within the community. Islam will help people make those U-turns on that road of destruction. It will help to reunite the African-American community with an incredible tradition of family. Because this is a community that survived the destruction, the institutionalized destruction of the family. And despite that, these families were thriving in this country for a long time, in spite of all the institutionalized attempts to destroy those families. But there are many people today within that community who are suffering from the breakdown of the family. Islam is rooted in family. It can reunite. It can reinvigorate. These people need Islam. These people need Islam. And that is why a strong African-American community is a strong American Muslim community, but it's also a strengthening of the overall African-American community in this country. A community that is the first to suffer when there's economic hardships in this country. It's the first to suffer. People talk about a depression. Go in to some of the inner cities in America and tell them about depression. They've been in depression for decades. It's not something new in that community. And that's why beacons of light and hope like Masjid al-Taqwa are what we need to strengthen in this country. These are the beacons of hope in very bleak and desolate places. And it's important for the immigrant community to be aware of that. The first time I heard Imam Siraj was in Los Angeles. And I know for many people that if you're old enough, you can ask people from a certain generation, where were you when Kennedy was killed? I'm not from that generation. I wasn't old enough. But there are people that remember. There are people that remember exactly where they were when they first found out about 9/11. But if you think, you can remember where you first heard Imam Siraj. Because Imam Siraj is a voice that's powerful. It's a voice that resonates. It's a voice that speaks the truth. He's been attacked, he's been slandered, he's been maligned, he's been vilified. But despite that, he struggles on. Imam Siraj, like all of us, is a work in progress. This is the human condition. There's people that want to say that something you said 20 or 30 years ago, you still say today. No, there's something called human evolution. People transform. People become more aware, especially inveterate and permanent student like Imam Siraj. Every time I've ever seen him, like Ingrid Mattson earlier, Dr. Mattson said, he's always got his bag of books. He's always got his pens. He's always got his dictionary. He's one of the scholars of the American Muslim community. He's had a lifetime of scholarship. And his community, to me, is one of the most important communities in the United States of America, and helping it is one of the most important things we can do as a community. And our community has to recognize this, and this has to transcend this ballroom. It has to transcend this ballroom. It is a disgrace for the overall American Muslim community that the imam of a masjid that has raised more money for the American Muslim community than any other imam in the United States of America. I can guarantee you that. If you had a flow chart, you would see how much this man has raised, going all over the country to the neglect of his own community, to raise money for other communities, and it's time that all of our communities paid back. It's time we all paid back. This is the way it goes. This is the way it works. You have to pay back. And so it's very important that you deliver this message to other places. We need to support. And institutionally, Imam Zaid and I are here. We don't have a quorum, but I can say we will make that commitment to support within our own institution what we can for this institution here. Now, the Prophet ﷺ was a community builder. And we are in a time when community is threatened. We've never been in a time like this, really, in human history, as far as I can tell. We have right now in this country a breakdown of communities on all the stratas of this society. We have children who are texting in their own homes. They don't talk to their parents anymore. They're talking to their friends online. We've got predators online preying in the homes. You'd never have anybody knock at your door and you go and you've never seen it before and you say, I'm a complete stranger, but I'd like to entertain your children for a few hours. Is that all right? And you, oh, come on in. Yeah, here they are. I'll see you later. But every day, people turn on the television and let complete strangers entertain their children. And if you look at what they're entertaining them with, and then you wonder why we've got little girls walking around with juicy on their bottoms, if you want to see the pornification of a culture, the degradation of a civilization, just look around. Look at what has happened to us as a species, as a people, because the human project right now is under serious threat. It is under serious threat. We have lawbreakers making the rules. We've got rulers breaking the laws. We've got banksters on Wall Street. We've got gangsters on Main Street. And we've got heads of football teams with charitable organizations that are used as fronts to molest children in showers at those same football stadiums. What's going on in this country? We've got 1 out of 5 women being raped in this country right now. This is their own statistics. This is what we're being told. What is happening? What's happening to us as a species, as a people? What's happening to us? We have to ask these questions. What kind of a society do we want our children to grow up in? What kind of a culture do we want to be part of? I want to be part of a culture that elevates people, that illuminates people, that gives them language to speak with power, like that beautiful spoken word that we heard earlier. Poets, a culture of meaning. This is what I want to have for my children and my children's children and the people around me. The other day I came into New York from Abu Dhabi on an airplane, and I was there, and I was waiting for somebody to pick me up, and people were coming off, and airports are amazing places, beautiful metaphors for life on earth, the comings and goings, separations and reunifications, people smiling with love, people with signs looking bored out of their gourd, wondering who's going to come around the corner. There were 2 little girls, and they were beautiful little girls. They couldn't have been more than 5 years old. They were Asian American, and they came around the corner, and I saw them immediately, and they saw their grandfather, and their eyes lit up. And they ran, and they just said, "Grandpa," and they hugged him. And then a few seconds later, the mother came, looking harried and disheveled. She came, and she gave her father a hug. And I actually told him, I said, "You're a lucky man," because they just, with so much love, they went up to their grandfather. And then the woman started frantically looking through her purse, and then a woman came up to her, and she said, "Did you lose this?" And she handed her an iPhone, and she said, "Oh, thank you." She said, "I found it in the bathroom, and I saw you leave, so I thought it might be yours." And then she turned to her father, and she said, "I lost my tickets at Starbucks, and somebody brought them to us. And now I lost my phone, and this person brought them to us. Thank God for the good people." And this little 5-year-old girl said, "Hooray for the good people. Hooray for the good people." And this little 5-year-old girl said, "Hooray for the good people. Hooray for the good people." I mean, really, that just floored me. This little girl recognizing goodness and saying, "Hooray. Hooray for the good people." We need the good people to wake up, because the bad people are, they're out there wreaking havoc on this planet. And the good people are either sitting by silently, shaking their heads, wondering what's going on, or they're fast asleep. And there's too many Muslims fast asleep. We have moral corruption. We have bankruptcy in our community. How can we speak the truth when we have some of the worst, most corrupt countries in the world? How can the Muslims call to good, forbid evil? Really, think about that. We need moral capital. We need to look ourselves in the mirror. And we should look in the mirror to change ourselves, to look at what needs fixing. Because we as a community, we are failing humanity. We were given an extraordinary task, and we are failing humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, "Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas." You were the best community. And that kuntum is in the past tense for a reason, because it referred specifically to that first community. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You were brought forth for all of humanity. Linnas. Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You enjoin what is right. You forbid what is evil. And you believe in God. Any community that has these three qualities shares in that excellence of that first community. That's what we need to be doing as a community. فَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. Let there be amongst you a community that calls to good. That calls to good. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. They enjoin what is right and they forbid what is evil. And these are the successful ones. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ تَفَرَّقُوا وَاخْتَلَفُوا مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْبَيِّنَاتِ. And don't be like those people who went into sects and divisions and differed after these clear signs had come to them. وَأُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. These will have a painful chastisement. The only way this community can be united without the divisions is by recognizing the nature of humanity, which is to differ about things. Muslims have always differed. We incorporated difference into our religious ethos. We have different ways of viewing things. Each of our groups has their scholars. There are rightly guided groups, and then there are misguided groups. Unfortunately, there's differences about who those rightly guided groups are and who the misguided groups are. There's where the problem arises. But if you take a broad-based criteria, a broad-based criterion, a generous criterion of our imams who are well known in our community throughout history, we can unite as a community. America, the American Muslim community, the Canadian Muslim community, these can be beacons of light for other places. The fact that the Majlis Council of Scholars in this city is one of the most extraordinary accomplishments in the Muslim world. I'm not talking just about the United States of America. A group of imams from diverse backgrounds, different geographical locations, to come together, to work together. That's what can happen in this country. We have the potential to change the world that we're in. And there's no other reason to be in this world unless you're here to change it for the better. Because there's enough people out there changing it for the worst. And you need to choose your sides, choose your battles, but start the struggle. Because the struggles, if you don't go to the struggle will come to you. It's the nature of life on this planet. If you don't go to the struggle will go to you. But this is a long train, and it's been moving for a long time. Rosa Parks went to jail in this country so that these people could be sitting at this table together. That's right. That's right. Medgar Evers took a bullet in the back. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. These people, they sacrificed their lives for a different America. And there are many positive and good things about America today. It is undeniable, some of the achievements that have occurred in our lifetimes. And we need to acknowledge that and recognize that. But there are other things that are deeply troubling. And if we don't look those things straight in the eye and deal with them as a community, recognize that we have allies in the greater community. We have good people that are standing by us, that are defending us. We have people on the left like Chris Hedges, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who's willing to speak the truth for the Muslim community on our behalf. And those people need to be recognized. We have people like Robert George, who's on the right, one of the most significant legal minds in the United States today, teaching at Princeton, defending the Muslim community. We need to recognize who our allies are. And those out there who are attacking this community, there are some of them who are simply ignorant. They need to be educated. There are others that are educated, but they have an agenda. You cannot blame the Jewish community, not all of the Jewish community, but a certain segment of the Jewish community in this country does not like the idea of a strong Islam in America, because the Jewish community has worked very hard to be enfranchised in this country. Many of the Jewish community has a tribal allegiance to Israel, just like many of the people in this hall might have some tribal allegiances to places they came from too. That's human nature. That's human nature. So you have to be aware there are people that are deeply disturbed by the idea of a powerful, vibrant Muslim community that is going to engage the dominant community in new discourses. But there are people within the Jewish community that have stood by our community, defended our community, so it's important for us to distinguish friends from foes. Right? Friends from foes. Recognizing who our friends are, who our enemies are, and unfortunately we have amongst ourselves, amongst the Muslim community, what I would call frenemies. Right? We've got a lot of those shooting us in the foot as a community, unfortunately. God bless you all. God bless Imam Siraj and his community. We owe them our support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.